Toledo, we're famous for glass, Art Tatum, Tony Pacos, Jamie Farr, a world-class museum, the Toledo Mud Hens and Walleye, an outstanding zoo and public library system. But who are the people that make our city so great? Welcome to the Soul of the Glass City podcast. I'm your host, Monique. I am so excited to have my next guest. I have watched her from afar. I have seen her at events. She snapped my picture a couple times in the last couple years, and we've never really got to sit down and have a conversation. I've just loved her from afar. So now I get to have her as a guest on my podcast. So this is such an honor for me. Hello, Ambershaun.
Hello. It's an honor for me to be here. Thank you.
This is the Amber Byrd, okay? And I have to ask you all the questions now that I have you in the chair. Are you a native Toledoan, ma'am?
I am. Born and raised.
Okay. What side of town?
All of them. Probably.
All of them?
Yeah, except the east side. I don't. Even though I did hang out on the east side for a minute. Yeah, a lot when I was young.
So what neighborhood did you favor then, since you grew up in a lot of them?
Favor. Well, I lived on Detroit for a while, so in the Pickett area, and then I lived on Warsaw for a long time. So after I graduated, I moved next door to my parents.
Okay.
So I lived in the Polish Village for a long time, and the OSN. OSN is really cool. But now I live out in the South End.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm kind of all over the place.
What was your experience growing up like? Okay, we're going to pick your favorite part. What was your experience?
Of growing up?
Yeah. Like, what did you like? What parks did you like to play in? What was your favorite elementary school or, junior high? Or did you switch a lot?
I moved a lot.
Okay.
I moved a lot. So Walbridge was kind of cool because there weren't very many plaques. It was like 2 of us in the class. It was like 6 of us in the school, I think. So that was interesting. I was there from 1st through 3rd grade, and it was an interesting experience being a young person living in a new neighborhood and playing with. I went from living on Dorr Street to living on Prouty. So it was a culture shock, but I enjoyed it. We had a huge garden and we could walk everywhere. Everything was safe, so it was cool. And my mom grew corn and everything. We had a huge dog that was right behind us. So that was really, really nice. It was like living in the country in the middle of the city.
Oh, wow.
That is one thing I think I love about Toledo is you can literally go around the corner and see a garden.
Or a cornfield.
A cornfield, yes. Or some greens growing right there on hill.
Right. Where did you go to high school? And when you graduated, what college did you attend afterwards?
So I am a Spartan. I went to start high school, and I went to the University of Toledo. I was a Toledo Excel Scholar.
Okay.
So definitely spent a lot of time at the University of Toledo, both as a undergraduate and graduate and employee.
And then you told me something cool before, that your mother used to work at UT too?
Yes. So that is actually what sparked my entrepreneurship spirit. My mother was a secretary at the university, and she was also a union steward. So she got to do a lot of stuff, and it was cool, but I always felt like she is responsible for a lot, but she wasn't in charge.
Okay.
So at 5 years old, I was like, I'm going to be in charge.
Okay.
Yeah. So that
I
was
can tell you, because you're super in charge in your life now, and we'll talk about that.
Okay.
You promote yourself so well, and I've always known you to be a photographer. Outside of your degree and all your education, you are so good at just, being out there and promoting yourself. And I just wanted to know, how did you go from being a long-term corporate career woman to a full-time entrepreneur?
Well, I was a part-time entrepreneur first.
Okay.
I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, but actually UT was my dream job, my dream career. So when I got to be assistant director and it was looking like it was going to be hard for me to go any further, that kind of started sparking like, well, what do you do next?
And how long were you at UT?
15 years.
Wow.
15 years after I graduated. I also worked there when I was an undergrad, but I don't really count that.
But wait, I'm going to just divert to the side real quick. Where does one of your daughters work now because of you working at a university?
She works at North Carolina A&T.
As a what?
As an advisor. She's an athletic advisor.
Look at that.
Advisor. Yes. Actually, my other daughter works at Bowling Green State University.
Okay, there we go. A bunch of educated
yes.
college working at the college.
We're higher ed
family.
Administrators.
Yes.
Even though Ayana works with kids, but yeah.
Okay.
It's really cool to me that they both went into higher education.
And didn't you also mention to me privately that you're the first in generation college student?
I am, yes. I'm the first in my immediate family to graduate college.
So look at that. And then created more admin educator children. Wow.
Yes.
So you also have an interesting story about why you became a photographer that you shared with me. What would you mind sharing that with us?
So it was twofold for photography for me. One of them was my father making it very clear that it was important to him that we preserve our memories. When my parents split up, he wanted to make sure that we had something left, as we got older. And so that was one of the reasons for sure. The other one was because my parents split up, my mother's father, every time we would come over, my grandfather, he would take pictures of us. And that was really memorable for me because I didn't really understand it as a young person. But as I got older, he encouraged me to keep doing the same thing. So he brought me my first camera in the 8th grade when I was going on a trip. And I just started taking pictures. I just kind of took over that part of making sure that we were captured in all the different things that were going on, everybody's graduation, wedding. I started doing wedding books and fell in love with that gift of giving the books to people after I would go to their events. And eventually it sparked into me needing a better camera.
And there's a really funny part of the story that I wanted you to share about how your dad would sneak and take the pictures and then your mom never knew.
Yeah, he doesn't like for me to tell that part. But yes, he basically would come over when my mom wasn't home to make sure that he got the pictures that he wanted. And the funnier part about that is when I got grown and got my own apartment, I took the book from his house. So
the tradition continues.
Yes, right. And I still have that book to this day.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You are also the president of your sorority chapter for Delta Sigma Theta. And for those like myself who aren't in a sorority or unfamiliar, was that a difficult role to attain or accomplish?
I wouldn't say it's difficult, but it definitely has been a long road. I've been at Delta for 28 years, and I'm pretty proud of the fact that I was the president when I was in undergrad at the University of Toledo, and now I am the president of the Toledo Alumni Chapter. But I've had many roles in the chapter in 28 years, so it's kind of like a succession plan, but I wouldn't say it's easy either because you are, working with 100 women. We have 100 active women in our chapter. And so you have all of the age groups. We go for as young as 23 to 93, literally. And so one of the things for me that's important is to bridge the gap between the younger sorority sisters and the older ones and the middle-aged ones like myself. So it's been thrilling.
I know you do a lot of public service as, you, Amber, and as a Delta. Can you share with us some of the impactful events and service projects that you've done?
So I think D9 Day at City Council is pretty impactful because it allows people to see sororities and fraternities in a different light. And it also gives the sorority and fraternity members an opportunity to see the behind the scenes of City Council and what goes on and what our city government is doing currently. So I think that's pretty cool. We do a lot of community service at my church as well. And so I appreciate being able to give back through my church, through my sorority. Sometimes it double dips. Like we volunteer a lot at Stewart School, and LP Stewart was a Delta. And so we have a good relationship with that school. The principal is also a Delta. So
I have never
awesome.
known that LP Stewart was a Delta. That's
yes,
cool. Yeah.
Yes, we're actually getting ready to put up a historical marker in her name. So the chapter has done a great job at making sure that her legacy is preserved. And I appreciate that. So that'll be coming in the next month or two.
That's good.
Actually,
That's
yeah.
good. What would you like to see for Toledo's future overall?
The first thing that comes to mind is I want Toledo to stop sleeping on itself. I want Toledo to stop acting like we're so small, because we're not. We're like a big little city. I think we're number 5 in Ohio. Mm-hmm. And we have a lot going on. We have a lot to offer. We have some very talented people here, but we're always looking to the outside or thinking or saying to ourselves, like, you know, we can't do that because of this, that, or the third. And I just think we need to take the reins off and say, yes, we can. Yes, we can do whatever we put our minds to.
I agree. What do you see yourself personally doing 5 years from now?
I want to become a traveling photographer. So one of the things about Toledo is it's affordable to live here. But that doesn't necessarily mean I want to be here all the time.
I feel you.
One of definitely as I get older, this is my 13th year as a photographer. I would like to become a destination photographer, so I would get paid to travel. That is definitely what I'm looking for in the next 5 years.
I wish I would have knew that the last couple of years I've been running into you, because I've been traveling all this time doing fashion and stuff. So we don't have to talk.
Yes, please, because that is, I love it.
Yeah. Would you like to leave us with any words of encouragement that, you know, will inspire our listeners?
I actually saw something today, so I'm going to pull out my phone because it was so inspiring to me that I sent it to all of my sorority sisters, and I won't read the whole thing.
We don't mind if you read the whole thing. Go ahead.
Well, it's affirmations for April, and it says, I create wealth with wisdom, not worry. I don't chase, I attract. God gives wisdom that brings lasting prosperity. I am positioned for abundance. There is no shortage in my life, only increase. And that reminded me of Toledo, that one. My gifts will always make room for me. And that was the one that I really wanted to say. I believe that your gifts, I am a living proof that your gifts make room for you, because never would you have been able to tell me 15 years ago that I would be where I am now as a photographer, a full-time photographer. I knew I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but photography was not on my radar at all.
Especially if you're working in administration at a university.
Right, exactly. But your gifts make room for you. I volunteered to take pictures for free while I was still working there, and my work got published. And then once they published it, I was like, well, I definitely can do this. So that was the one that I definitely wanted to tell people. Like, if you have a gift, let it take you wherever. Don't be afraid. Don't stifle it. Take it as far as you can.
I appreciate that. That was very deep, and it spoke to me too. So
Good.
Thank you for coming, and I look forward to hopefully taking a trip somewhere with you.
Yes, that would be awesome. Thank you so much for having me. This is great.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. I'm your host and producer, Monique. My executive producer is Chris Pfeiffer. Join me next time for another exciting episode of Soul of the Blast City podcast. For more information, if you have questions or comments, go to wgte.org/soul.
WGTE. Voices around us.
WGTE is supported in part by the American Rescue Plan Act funds allocated by the City of Toledo and the Lucas County Commissioners and administered by the Arts Commission.